Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another action-packed, well, not just action-packed, championship-packed edition of Review of Honor, where we cover everything that happens in a Ring of Honor ring. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have two huge championship matches tonight to talk about. We have our World Championship match between Shane Taylor trying to take that title from Roosh, and we have a Pure Rules match, Pure Rules tag team match for the tag team titles when Kenny King and Dragon Lee attempt to take the tag titles from the Foundation in the form of Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. But guys, before we can talk about any of that, I got to introduce my co-host. You know him. He is a three-time baby-making champ. You can see that he brought out the Ring of Honor shirt with the Bucks on it. The Ring of Honor Championship tag team titles are there on the shirt. Ness, tell the people how you're doing, sir.
I'm doing mighty fine. And Championship Mania, yeah, that's what this episode is all about, man. A lot of twists and a whole lot of turns. So definitely ready to discuss this, because this was definitely one for the books.
Yeah, and guys, you know, we got some guys in these matches who are ungovernable. They don't want to follow the rules. They don't want to, you know, even if they're being asked nicely, they don't want to have anything to do with any form of rules or suggestions or anything like that to keep things civil. But we know, Ness and I know, that if we ask you guys to do something for us, you will definitely do that. And so we are asking you to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. We are continuing to grow the channel. We are blowing past the 1,000 subscriber mark, and we are continuing to grow. And we appreciate everything that all of you guys do for us all the time. But guys, we got to get into it. And what other way can we start off a championship edition of a Ring of Honor episode than a backstage segment with LFI in their locker room discussing all of the dark, twisted things that they're going to do to Shane Taylor and to the Foundation for these matches. And we have a interesting moment here where we have LFI, La Bestia del Ring, Dragon Lee, Roosh, the two brothers, talking to each other about what they want to do in these title matches. And then Kenny King shows up out of nowhere and is talking about how, well, you know, we don't need to do this. We don't need to cheat to win. Because we are better. We are just not from a moral standpoint or a behavioral standpoint. No, we're just better than these guys in the ring. We don't need to cheat because we don't have to. We're just that much better than Shane Taylor, Jonathan Gresham, and Jay Lethal. And there seems to be some friction here. There seems to be some friction between members of LFI as Roosh is kind of questioning the dedication, the loyalty even, of Kenny King to LFI. So, Ness, we're going to talk about this segment in relation to what happens later. But did you have any thoughts, like, while the segment was happening, before we get into anything else? What did you think about that part?
Yeah, when it started off, I kind of figured that's where it was going to go. Uncomfortables, you know, we don't play by the rules. We don't follow the rules. We do whatever the hell we want. That's pretty much LFI's motives. If you guys haven't been paying attention for the past couple months, you know, so it was just funny. They're like, oh, we don't care how we're going to go into this match, but we know we're going to do something we're not supposed to do. So, yeah, this chair, we're going to use it. You know, these rules, we're going to break them. Kenny King, out of all people, wanting to be the voice of reason, or trying to be the voice of reason, because, you know, he has that relationship with Shane Taylor. You know, he's the big brother, that's the little brother type of thing going on. So, of course, he's just like, look, guys, we don't really need to do this. We can just go out there and beat them, you know, fair and square. That was like a record scratching. You know, you watch like a TV show, and this is like, and they all just looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about right now, Kenny? And they're like, yo, like, no, this is, you know what we do. You know what we're about. You know, being straight up, being fair, being, you know, we're not about that. That's not what we do. We do whatever the hell we want. And what we want to do is cause destruction and chaos. So you got to know your role right now, Kenny. So that was it. It definitely made for a compelling story. Well, to start it off, like you said, we're going to get into what happens at the end in the main event. But at that point, it definitely made me want to focus on what was going to happen in the main event, because again, these guys all do things a certain way, and then Kenny coming out of left field wanting to do things different from what they usually and normally do definitely was like a head scratcher. And it was not only to the audience watching, it was a head scratcher to his team. Basically Del Rey is probably looking like, why the hell you guys got this guy on your team right now? He's just like what the fuck? Like, what? No, we're gonna do this shit our way. So, and then everybody's like, trying to talk to him, get them together, and then they were kind of not I'm gonna say at odds, but it was just like, all right, this is a little weird. Let's just reconvene at a later later on in the show, see if we can all come back on one accord. But that was definitely a quote unquote red flag, far as if you're watching this and you're keeping up with again how LFI moves and the things that they do. And that just that was just coming out of left field. So that was definitely something to look forward to going on in the main event.
I agree with you completely. It was definitely a red flag. And speaking of red flags, that's something you got to pay attention to when you're in a pure tag title match, because you only have 3 rope breaks, ladies and gentlemen. Just as a reminder, this was the second Pure Rules tag team match in Ring of Honor history, the first having been that match on the pre-show at Final Battle. Now we have this one here, and just to remind you guys of the rules, the Pure Rules are in effect. So if you grab onto the rope, you have 3 rope breaks before rope breaks will no longer save you during a pinfall, submission, or anything like that. But in addition to, because it's a tag team match, if you are in a pinning predicament and your partner enters the ring to save you, that will count towards one of your rope breaks. Now,
that sucks. When you go latch onto the rope, you're making that decision. If your partner, maybe your partner doesn't know that you're going to kick out. So what if it comes down to the point where you're just waiting for that, it's going to be a false finish. You're going to kick out, but your partner's not going to know that. He doesn't understand what's going on. He comes in to save you, and that could be your last rope break. That can be the last save that you can use, something that you can wait longer for. As the match goes on, it hits higher levels. You could have used that rope break, but your partner making the decision, quote unquote, I wouldn't say throwing in the towel, but for lack of a better term, that's pretty much kind of what it is. It's coming to save you. But if you felt like you don't need saving, that leaves you guys at odds. So it definitely throws a different dynamic, a different aspect into these matches a lot. It's kind of weird in my opinion, but again, it definitely makes for compelling stories.
One day I just want to see the Briscoes in a pure tag team match. Just for my own amusement. And if it just so happens Delirious is on the other side, even better. Why 3 out of the 4 people involved in the match would agree to a pure rules? I don't know, but hey, let's just fantasy book over here for the sake of it. But this was actually a really good match. This was really, really solid match. There's some nice back and forth. There's a moment where, and they talked about it in commentary, where Jonathan Gresham is just getting out of anything and everything, and just Jay Lethal is just in the background, as just the cheerleader, yo, anything you want to do, any style you want to do, my guy got you. He knows how to get out of anything and everything. And Jonathan Gresham just living up to that octopus nickname, as always. This was a really good match. I gave it about 2.5 to 2 3/4 stars. It just what I liked about it was that they emphasize those pure rules, and they emphasize the differences between LFI and the Foundation. But at the same time, the match just felt as though something about it just felt like that. I think like the last few moments of the match was the gear that it was like getting ready to shift into. But I also kind of understand it because we have a world title match down the road, and timing is of the essence. I get it, but something about it just felt a little like they should have picked up the pace at one point. But overall, incredibly good match. We have moments where the Foundation are forcing LFI to use those rope breaks. We have moments where LFI is, doing what they're supposed to do. They use that closed fist, and they get that warning from the ref, and you're thinking, wow, all right, could this be really the downfall of LFI? Are they finally going to get caught in the sense of, yeah, you can cheat, but we've made the rules so strong, so stringent, that how is the heel going to be able to find a way to cheat? Well, guys, this is the genius. This is the genius of LFI. They're going to find ways to pull. Here's the thing. I don't know if at one point backstage when they're planning this, they were like, okay, look, here's what we want to do. We want to find a way to somehow get Amy Rose knocked the fuck out so that the ref pays attention to her and I can straight fist that dude and just pin him. I don't know what exactly they talked about, what their game plan was, but whatever their game plan was, it definitely worked because, ladies and gentlemen, we have new tag team champions. Dragon Lee is now, we had a team where there was a double champ, and now we just moved it to a team that has a double champ because Dragon Lee had the TV title. Now he is also a tag team champion, and Kenny King is a tag team champion as well. Now, the only thing that I want to say, and maybe I'm giving a little bit too much away, is that in the final moments of the match, when Dragon Lee hits that just straight closed fist, Kenny King doesn't see it happening. Like, he doesn't actually see, he's on the outside, and he's kind of checking on Amy Rose as well. So he doesn't actually see the straight fist happen, but a win is a win. So he's celebrating that title win, and he's saying, hey, we won. So, Ness, tell me your thoughts on the match. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I gave it 2 3/4 stars. I definitely agree. I felt as though it could have went a gear higher. It just never did for me until, like you said, the last finishing moments and when like that last finishing stretch. I really enjoyed. We have the Foundation, the pure wrestlers, the best pure wrestlers in Ring of Honor, or just some of the best pure wrestlers in the world, literally pure wrestling, going by the rules of the pure division. And then here we have LFI, who once again does what they want, not really used to the pure rules, not really used to rules, period. So it was a nice clash of styles, especially where these guys used all their rope breaks probably within like 5 minutes of the match. Dragon Lee definitely did. I think he might have used 2 of them. I know Kenny King they both did. So I think Dragon Lee used his like a couple seconds into the match. Like, I think it was like a couple, like maybe a minute into the match. So again, this is something that they're not particularly used to. Lethal and Gresham, this is their wheelhouse. So they're not going to be out of their element. So, the lockups and the exchanges and the submissions and the counters and the holds, that's all regular in a regular match without the pure rules. So, they're not thinking about that, Dragon Lee and Kenny King. So that's why they exasperated all their rope breaks early. So I definitely like that little aspect of the match. But overall, the back and forth was very good. The finish, although it was a straight punch, the fact that it was a punch and it's not legal, on top of the fact I don't think Gresham expected it. So that's why I can see that on top of everything else that Dragon Lee was spamming him with, that's why I can see that he won with literally just a closed fist punch, because you're not supposed to do that in a pure rules match. So, of course, something that you're not expecting to happen is definitely going to catch you off guard way more than something that you're expecting to happen. So again, if it was just a regular match with regular rules, although Gresham would have been, wanted to do the pure style in a regular match, it would have been legal, and he can't complain about that. Now the fact that this happened in the pure style match where that literally is illegal, he has a gripe. He has a gripe. On top of the fact, they lost, but he lost looking strong because once again, that's not supposed to happen. It's basically a dirty finish, and he didn't get beat clean. So again, yeah, 2 3/4 stars. Man, they just went from one double champ to the next now. So it was just like, and it makes so much sense though because the teams are already interlocked in such a compelling story and everything that's going on. So this definitely amps up the storyline itself. One, with the finish. Two, the fact that the titles just switched hands, and now we went from one of the best wrestlers in Ring of Honor being the double champ to another one of the best wrestlers in Ring of Honor as another champ. Both these guys can definitely do double duty work for the company, in my opinion. I'm sure you agree. So yeah, man, it was just all over. And shout out to Amy Rose for taking that bump too, man. It's like, because I'm sure that they talked about it and she knew it was going to happen, but she's like started rolling. And I'm like, oh man, she really took that, and she sold it well too. So, and also congratulations to her for being I think the first manager for managing somebody that has at this point in time the whole like the tag team titles, the TV titles, and the world title. So yeah,
never been done before.
Yeah, at this point, LFI is looking like the best.
I don't know if there's a way for one of her guys to win the pure title. I feel like they're I don't know, but I mean this was a pure rules match and they still won. So hey.
They did it their way.
yeah, they definitely pulled out the Frank Sinatra. They did it my way, like that's kind of the theme of LFI here. But speaking of people who do things their way, speaking of people who wanna fight for what they believe in, we now transition to our main event. The World Championship is on the line. The championship is in peril because Shane Taylor, the 6-man, not 3-man, but the 6-man tag team champion, is coming to the ring with his fellow champions Khan and Moses, and he's done it all except win the World Championship, and that's kind of what he's looking for here. He's been a TV champion. He's been a 6-man champion, so I guess maybe he hasn't been a tag champion. So maybe he hasn't done it all. But here he's trying to just get another thing done. And that is show people that if you do things the right way and you treat people with respect, you can be dominant. You can be powerful. You don't necessarily have to be foundation. You don't necessarily have to be so pure wrestling. You can still throw people around the ring. You can throw them through barricades. You can do all that fun stuff. And trust us, Roosh is going to find out that you can do just that during this match. But if you approach people with respect, you can make change. And that is what Shane Taylor is about. And Shane Taylor Promotions, you make some money along the way. Everybody's happy. So we have this match, and we know that Roosh is, well, the exact opposite of pretty much all of that. So...
So hit the nail right on the head, man.
We have and just to make things even sweeter, we have Kenny King on commentary. So now we know there's got to be something that happened, something that's going to involve that conversation that we somehow were privy to in that locker room. So this match goes, and it's hard, it's physical, it is tough. I thought that the Shane Taylor Brody King match was incredibly physical, and this came close, not on the same level. This came close to being near there, because those guys beat the living daylights out of each other. And in this one, I was thinking to myself, wow, if after I saw what Shane Taylor did to Brody King, no disrespect to Roosh, but you are a much smaller competitor. How is he going to take getting thrown through barricades, getting all this punishment done to him? And that's really the way the story of the match was. And Kenny King on commentary is bringing up that fact, and he's saying, you guys keep saying that Roosh is not going to be able to power back, but Roosh is a counterpuncher. Like when you hit him, he's finding ways to hit back, and that's the story of this match. Roosh slowly turns the tides. Sometimes he uses wires to turn the tides, but Todd Sinclair gives him a we'll say a wide berth. A wide berth, because the previous match was pure rules. This one, not so much. It's not really a no DQ match, but maybe it should have been.
It isn't at all. It isn't at all.
But I mean, I didn't know you could choke somebody with wires and that's not causing a DQ. If I was Roosh, I would be happy. I would be like, no, disqualify me. I'm choking him with wires, because my title doesn't change hands on disqualification. However, the match continues. They're going back and forth. And then I gotta admit, it looked like an innocent ref bump. It really did look like Roosh did not intend to bump Sinclair. However, I don't know what's going. I don't know who is in charge of the backstage, like the gorilla position for Ring of Honor, because that ref took the bump, and I feel like he was still falling, and Bestia's running out with a chair. I was like, they could have waited another couple more seconds before this guy runs out here. But he's just standing there waiting, and there's some Ring of Honor official you're not going to go out there and use the chair and help him. No, I'm not going to. You guys follow the rules. That would be breaking the rules. Of course we follow the rules. We're the l'affection. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. But he runs out there. He's got the chair. Kenny King says, no, I'm not going to stand for this. He's sitting, but he's saying, I'm not going to stand for this. And so he gets up, he goes down to the ring, and he takes the chair from Roosh, and he's saying, we don't need to do this. We don't need to, you have him beat. Why are you doing this? You don't need to do this. And then he goes, he makes he's about to swing on Roosh, and Roosh just kind of does the Naito sidestep, almost, and that chair cracks on Shane Taylor's head, and that was the chair shot heard around Baltimore, because with that move, and quite simply a few moments later, with the horns of the bull from Roosh's drop kick, running corner drop kick, Roosh retains that ROH World Championship. I felt like with the physicality of the match and everything that it had going for it, I was willing to give this match 2 3/4 the same as the previous match. However, that ending kind of killed it for me, because it made me reevaluate everything that had happened throughout the course of the episode, and I was just like, who were they trying to fool? Because in order for that locker room segment to work, LFI has to do one of the very rare things in wrestling, and they have to acknowledge that they let a camera into their locker room, and they have to acknowledge that all this is happening, so that they're able to say, you know what, we're going to intentionally fake this so that it's broadcasted out, so that we can set Shane Taylor and the Foundation onto a false sense of security. All right, so we're going to do that, but then we're going to cheat in the tag match, and Kenny King's going to say nothing whatsoever and not be upset about it at all. And then when he comes and sits on commentary, Riccaboni and Coleman, who watched them cheat, don't say anything to him about the fact that he won by cheating, when he said, we don't need to do this, and I'm against it if we do. So let's assume they didn't say anything. Well, then they're idiots. And if they did say something, then Kenny King clearly is lying to us when he says that he doesn't want any kind of cheating to win. So when he does run down to the ring, already we're like, okay, now we're something about it just took me out of it. And I don't know, like I felt like it dropped it down to maybe two and a quarter to me. It just, I don't know, like, what were your thoughts, Ness? What were your thoughts on the whole thing?
Well, the overall match, I definitely enjoyed. Man, the physicality was definitely up there. You got guys going through barricades, getting their heads slammed, and doors. It was just all over. Again, I gotta agree with the sentiment as far as there was a lot of leniency in this match. I think at this point, Todd Sinclair is just like, all right, I already know that it's LF5. These guys are going to do whatever the hell they want. So what's the point of me even disqualifying them, knowing they're going to retain? Either way, I disqualify them, they're going to retain. They might lose, might lose the battle or end up winning the war because he retains being champ. So he lets Roosh do whatever the hell he wants. The whole Kenny King thing, in my opinion, I don't think he really cared far as the tag match. I think it's more so he cared about because he had a relationship with Shane Taylor. That's really, I think, more he was more focused on Roosh. Don't do that to Shane Taylor. He don't care about Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. He's like, fuck those guys. I don't really care about them. But far as the relationship that they had, because they even played up on that on commentary, when he was talking to Caprice Coleman, how they had their stable some time ago. So, but I think that part coming out again, I definitely agree with the cameraman being there, actually clearly exposing this whole plan. So at the end of the day, him coming down to the ring, taking the chair, and then acting like he was going to hit Roosh, but ends up striking Shane Taylor. That was somewhat of a surprise, but somewhat not, because once he comes down there and you already see that Labesia Del Rey comes down and he has a chair, and then it was kind of like way too after the fact, and Kenny's just like, all right, now I have to do something. And that do something turns into him being the one out of all people striking Shane Taylor. What I was confused about was he was like, "Oh, you guys promised me you wouldn't do this." Like, no, he didn't. He never said he never told you he wasn't going to do it. They were trying to tell you that you need to be on board with them. There was never a confirmation that no, we're gonna do this the right way. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna beat these guys. No, he never said that. They kept telling you. They kept trying to beat it into your head that we do what we want. And what we want to do is break and bend rules, break rules, and do whatever we want. So that's really the part that kind of threw me off. I gave the match 2.5. Again, I enjoyed the physicality. The actual match was very decent, but it was just two ends of the spectrum going on with the storytelling going on, as far as like with Kenny King and everything else going on. But again, it was a good match overall. And then now, also with the whole Roosh getting able to to choke you out with wires and shit and not get disqualified. Like they still really can't explain that. And I think it's just because they know it's going to happen. So they're just like, at this point, they're like, fuck it. What can we do? So, 2.5. I just want to see where it goes now, because is Shane Taylor going to take that line down? I don't think so. I don't think
I felt like and the thing is, I get what you're saying. Like, he didn't want it to happen to Shane Taylor. But then, so when he goes to swing to hit him, he's intending to hit Roosh. Yeah. Roosh steps out of the way, but it's almost like that wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I know what you were really going to do.
Yeah.
And he connects with Shane Taylor, and then he looks over at Roosh like, now do you see what I'm about? It's like, wait, it doesn't make sense, because if the intent was to just hit Shane Taylor the whole time, why did you need to lure Shane Taylor into this false sense of security that during the match, like that right, you're now going to stand up to Roosh? You could have just taken the chair and started beating him down. Like there was no reason to make that play. So I feel like what they could have done or should have done was to maybe have like Kenny King show remorse, like shock, like oh shit, I hit Shane Taylor, and then continue the story like next week or whenever they pick it up because they have other storylines that they need to focus on. Then when they pick it up, Kenny King shows like he's like conflicted or whatever the case may be, but then he makes the conscious decision clearly in front of our eyes to be one and the same with LFI and that idea. I think that would have worked a little bit better. But I mean, obviously, I feel like they could easily, if LFI can win a pure rules tag team match, they could probably win a pure rules singles match.
Yeah.
And now it just so happens that the person that they pissed off has those 6-man championships. This would be incredible if somehow, some way, LFI holds all the titles.
That would be crazy.
if Kenny King gets the Pure Rules Championship, and then they become 6-man champions, Mark Briscoe is going to lose his mind. That's the only thing I know. Like, Mark Briscoe is just going to look up and be like, wait, they got what? And just be so confused that it's going to be incredible. I don't know how they're going. And you know what the crazy thing is? And this would just be a crazy ass booking I'm pulling out of my head. We would then see Jay Briscoe prove himself to be the man with honor, and he could actually lead the charge to take down LFI. That sounds absolutely insane because I have no idea what's going to happen with this EC3 Jay Briscoe thing. But it got me thinking where I was like, you know, why take the titles off of Mexa Squad if you don't need to?
Right.
Maybe it's to put them on LFI. And that just, I was like, oh, this could be incredible. And Amy Rose would go down in history as the greatest ROH manager for doing pretty much absolutely nothing except for taking one bump.
Literally, yeah.
And that and doing.
She's not even really manager. She's on commentary.
Yeah, so, that and doing like really not a great job on commentary.
Yeah, like she's just talking. Like she'll say something every couple seconds, or like, all right, whatever.
And Caprice and Riccaboni, they'll be trying to feed her too. They'll be like, so yeah, what'd you think about this? And she'll just be like, LFI is great.
Right.
Next question. Next question.
Yeah, I definitely agree though. I think they did no pun intended, rush that story with, or that aspect of the story with Kenny King, because like you said, they could have played it out, or they could have just went a whole different way with it if they're going to do that whole thing in this episode. There definitely didn't need to be any baiting onto Kenny King feeling sorry or wanting him to show empathy for Shane Taylor if he was going to be the one the whole time to strike him with a chair, you know, or to prove his loyalty to LFI, you know. It really didn't need to happen that way. So I definitely agree with that.
Now the only thing that kind of makes this crazy idea that I had not work is that in about 3 weeks from now they have that anniversary show, and on the anniversary show every title is supposed to be defended. So unless they say like certain matches could be title for title, I don't know how exactly they're going to pull this off, because Roosh has to defend, Dragon Lee has to defend twice, the 6-man titles have to be on. Like, is Gresham? Maybe that's part of the story. Gresham defends the pure title, but this time around, unlike on Final Battle, he's not up to par, and he and Lethal are unable to regain the tag titles. Maybe that's the angle that they go with this time. I don't know. We gotta see. But
that is actually something, because at this point, they pretty much have all the titles. They got the world title, the tag titles, and the television title. So is it going to be the anniversary show is LFI versus the world? Because the whole pretty much the majority of the stars on the roster hate those guys. Like literally, they got the Foundation, Shane Taylor and Shane Taylor Promotions, the Briscoes, Brody King, PCO, like all these guys have legit gripes with LFI. So it's like 4 guys versus like damn near 10, probably more than that, literally more than that. So that's going to be crazy if that comes down to like LFI versus the rest of the rest of the roster.
Yeah, I think they said that what was it? Shoot, I'm trying to think now because they gave away some of the matches for next week. And yeah. So here it is. So this is the question I wanted to ask you. We have a situation where Roosh has beaten Shane Taylor. He's beaten Brody King. I don't know who is going to be that person to step up. So this is the question. Next week, we're giving a preview for next week. Next week we have a fatal 4-way, a 4 corners match for the #1 contendership to the ROH World Championship. Let me ask you who you think is. We'll do a little predictions here. We have Jay Briscoe, EC3, Matt Taven, and Jay Lethal.
Well, it's definitely not going to be Matt Taven. It's definitely not going to be Matt Taven. Now, given the storyline and everything that's going on, in my personal opinion, the best option is Jay Lethal. That keeps this story going. It makes it a high caliber feud title match. Obviously, they would do this at the anniversary show. So again, this is us booking it. That makes the most sense. You can't go wrong with Jay Briscoe. I feel as though that would be a step under, not in a sense of anything being bad, but that's like Jay Lethal, Jay Briscoe, EC3. You could throw him in there, being the guy that wants everybody to be honorable, but he's really doesn't have that. Really have had that stint in Ring of Honor at the moment to be going for a title shot, in my opinion. But again, if you really want this story to continue and keep up the momentum and for everything to make sense, Jay Lethal needs to win this match so he can face Rouge.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think that is the logical course to go with, Jay Lethal picking up that win. And then the other match, which could be a little teaser for what's going to happen with the Pure title, we have a Pure Rules match, Dalton Castle versus Josh the Goods Woods. And we've talked about how we want to see a Josh Woods, Jonathan Gresham, the two of them. I don't know. Maybe if Woods can pulls the win out, that could vault him up on the standings, or that could get him. They might kind of retroactively say this was a #1 contendership match or something like that. But man, there's we talk about it a lot, guys. The plates that are spinning. This is 3 weeks. We're 3 weeks away from the anniversary show. How exactly they're going to pull all this off? I mean, I can see a world where Jay Briscoe and EC3 just basically brawl with each other and take each other out of the match, and Jay Lethal's able to pin Matt Taven because of that. And then at the anniversary show, we get EC3 Jay Briscoe, which we were supposed to get at Final Battle. So I don't know, man. This is gonna be really crazy. I'm looking forward to now. I gotta say, Ring of Honor's been doing they've been keeping up the momentum. Just think last week we had what was the main event was that it was the Foundation versus each other's all of that. The week before we had the chaotic LFI 8-man tag match with Flip Gordon being involved. This is just they're keeping everything moving, they're keeping everything going. But guys, we gotta go as well, and we will see you next time when we talk about who exactly is going to be trying to pry that title from Rush's cold dead hands, it seems. But
whenever it happens, man, that guy he's unbeatable. He's unbeatable right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He has all the momentum in the world, it seems. And now it's rubbing off the rest of his group. Who knows? They might get the 6-man title because La Bestia Del Ring needs a title now. So they could be the 6-man champion. So, man, shit. At this point, these guys looking like they can get all the titles of Ring of Honor.
Yeah, especially when you remember that Roosh is at 446 days. And if Jay Lethal can't stop him, Roosh will pass a certain Bryan Danielson for being one of the long. He will be the top 4 for the longest reigning Ring of Honor champions, and then it's just Nigel McGuinness, Samoa Joe, and Jay Lethal. So we're gonna have to see. But Ness, tell the fine people where they can find you, sir.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at skinny_Kravitz. You can follow me on Instagram at skinny__Kravitz. And you can always catch me on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. Obviously, you catch me on Review of Honor. My man is StatKing, man of 1,004 numbers, as we review everything that happens in the Ring of Honor ring. You can also catch me on Blunt Impact and Joints and Jabronis with my man Chris G. We form the Pod Heels, smoke a little weed, review Impact Wrestling. It's always a good time. The Roundtable Rebel, you catch me on the Roundtables, and you can also listen to my illustrious voice on True Toxicity. Always got to get the cheap plug.
Absolutely, absolutely. And guys, you can always catch me here on our YouTube channel as well on Dark Power, covering everything that happens in AEW Dark and MLW Fusion. This week is going to be absolutely crazy of an episode because there were 2 of the women's tournaments. There was a Sunday, Monday, then Dark on Tuesday, then Fusion on Wednesday, and there is a special Dark episode on Saturday before Revolution. So this is going to be a crazy, crazy episode full of wonderful squash matches from Dark, at least. But guys, and you can also catch me in our Facebook group discussing all the wonderful things, especially right now when we're all trying to figure out who is going to be the mystery Hall of Fame worthy career that Paul White advertised while he was wearing that absolutely horrible shirt that should not have been tucked into those pants. That was just really awkward for everyone involved. I felt bad for Tony Schiavone having to stand next right there and be like, what is going on? But until next time, guys, I am the Stat King. This is the three-time baby-making champ Ness. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and to quote Ian Riccaboni, happy wrestling, guys. Peace.